some equations are going to have a lot more operations that we need to deal with. So the procedure that you should follow is first eliminate any fractions. You'll do that by multiplying both sides of the equation by a common denominator, and that will allow you to eliminate all of the denominators. Now you might find it easier to eliminate just one fraction at a time, and then you don't have to worry about what that common denominator is. Then we'll use the distributive law to remove any grouping symbols. So that's where you have parentheses and you will multiply a value through the parentheses. Then you combine like terms on each side. So if you have like terms on both sides of the equal sign, you're going to combine them with whatever operations are listed. Then you will use your operations to both sides using those opposite operations until your equation is left with x equals some answer, which would be the result. And then you can check your solution by substituting it back into the original equation to make sure that your equation satisfies based on your solution. So for example 6, we have 2x minus 3 equals 1 plus x. So I don't have any fractions and I don't have any grouping symbols. So I now need to look to see if I have any like terms, and I don't. So now I'm going to focus on getting x's on one side and numbers on the other. I see this plus x, so I can bring it to the other side by subtracting x. Now I have 2x minus x. I have 2 of something and I subtract 1 from it, so it's going to leave me with just 1 of that unknown variable. We don't usually write a 1 in front of a variable, we would just write x. Bring down the negative 3, or the minus 3, because we have not dealt with that one yet, and then also bring down the 1. The only thing that canceled here, the x minus x went away, and the 2x minus x combined. Now we have x minus 3 equals 1. To solve this, we'll add 3 to both sides. Those 3's cancel, and 1 plus 3 is 4. I can do a quick check. 2 times 4 minus 3, and that gives me 8 minus 3, which is 5. And then the other side, 1 plus my value 4 equals 5. So since I got 5 on both sides, that is the solution. X equals 4. Now in number 7, this is an example where if an engineer was trying to find the center of gravity for a beam, they would have to solve for x for an equation like this. So no fractions, no grouping symbols, and no combining of like terms yet. So we can focus on solving this equation for x. Now you have a choice here. Some people like to always bring the x's to the left, and some people like to move the variables around so that the variable stays positive. You can do whichever one you prefer. I'm going to show you where you don't always have to bring the x's to the right or to the left. We're going to bring it to the right this time. So right now I have minus 3x, so I will add 3x so that they cancel here, leaving me with 16 on the left and 2 plus 7x on the right, since 4x plus 3x is 7x. Now my x's are on the right, so I want to bring the numbers to the left. So I'll subtract 2, that will leave me with 7x, and then 16 minus 2 is 14. Finally, I can divide both sides by 7 so that the 7's cancel, and my answer is x equals 2. It's fine to have the variable on the right, but if you'd like to rewrite it, you can just flip that around and make it x equals 2. We can do a quick check. 16 minus 3 times 2. Order of operations, I need to do 3 times 2 first. So that gives me 10. And on the other side, 2 plus 4 times 2 is going to be 2 plus 8, which is also 10. Both sides are the same value, so x equals 2 is the solution. Now, example 8, we need to distribute first because we have that parentheses with a 3 in front. Distributing means you're going to multiply to everything inside the parentheses. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 1 is 3. On these, you always want to check to see if you need to combine any like terms before moving on. But here we don't have any. I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides because that will cancel on the right, leaving me with a -9. Make sure that your sign always stays. And then here, 6x minus 2x is 4x. We'll add 3. Now, I still want to get x by itself, so I need to subtract 3, leaving me with 4x equals -12. And sometimes I draw the line, sometimes I forget, whatever you want to do here. And then I divide by 4, so my answer is x equals -3. I will check that. So here I need to do the parentheses first. It's going to be -6 plus 1. Then -6 plus 1 is -5. So I get -15 on the left. And then 2 times -3 minus 9 is -6 minus 9, which is also -15. So x equals -3 is the solution. Then for example 9, we have a fraction. Now the common denominator would be 6 here, but you might find it easier to do just one fraction at a time. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3. That's going to eliminate that first fraction of x, but then everything else, I will just multiply a 3 in the numerator. When you multiply a fraction by a number, if it's just a whole number, it's only going to be multiplying the numerator. Now, I want to get rid of the next fraction of 2. So that's going to give me 2x, and then for the next part, the 2's cancel, so that's a -3. The 2 cancels again, leaving me with 2x. The 2 cancels again, leaving me with -15. So you might find it a little bit easier in doing these, eliminating the denominator, by just doing each denominator until you don't have a fraction anymore. Anytime you multiply a fraction by the same number that's in the denominator, that will cancel that out. Anytime it's not the same number, then you need to leave a multiplication in the numerator. All right, now we're ready to solve. I'm going to subtract 2x this time so that I have a positive number on my variable. 3 minus 2, that's going to leave me with 1x. Then I need to add 15 so that I'm left with x equals positive 12. I can check that answer, 12 over 3 minus 1/2. That's 4 minus 1/2, which is 3.5. And 12 divided by 2 minus 5/2. That is 6 minus 5/2, which is also 3.5. And then the last example in our notes, we have a few things that we need to deal with. But the first thing here is the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the 500 and the 200. So 500 times 2x is 1000x. 500 times -3 is minus 1500. And then on the right, 200 times x is 200x. 200 times -2 is -400. And we still have the plus 500. Don't forget anything after you're distributing. Now look for combining like terms. Here, the -400 and the positive 500 are both numbers on the same side of the equation. So I will combine those. But there are no other like terms on the same side of the equation. When they're on the same side like that, I simply take -400 and I add the 500. That gives me 100. Now I'm going to use my operations on both sides in order to get things to cancel. So I'm going to subtract 200x from both sides, leaving me with 800x minus 1500. The 200x cancels, and then I bring down the 100. Now, to continue trying to isolate, I'm going to add 1500 to both sides. That gives me 800x equals 1600. And then divide by 800, and 1600 divided by 800 is 2. I'll check my answer. 500 times 2 times 2 minus 3 is 500 times 1, so I get 500. And I don't have room to do it next to it, but I'll just separate. I have 200, and then 2 minus 2 plus 500. Well, that's 200 times 0 plus 500, which is 0 plus 500, and that equals 500 as well. So my solution x equals 2 is in fact the solution.